Alright guys, another day, another strength here, back with another video. And before I get into this video, I just want to give you guys a quick update on the channel. So I've been uploading every day for about a month, a little bit over that at this point now, and I'm going to make some changes to my upload frequency. I'm going to start uploading a little bit less frequently, which I knew this day was going to come because I can't just upload every day all the time, right? And so what I'm planning to do is upload a little bit less frequently, and then also kind of like increase the production quality a little bit. So I'm thinking about getting a microphone. Going to include some more B-roll, some more editing in the videos, and then kind of like have, certain series that I'm going to do and continue with those, and then also just kind of have like maybe 2 or 3 uploads per week. But yeah, so I wanted to get a bunch of videos out at the start to help grow the channel, have like more, just content out there in the first place, drive some more engagement. And then also, I just had a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about. So now I have like a lot of the general ideas out there, and I'm going to kind of like hone in on some more specifics, make some more long form videos. And then also just kind of like reiterate a lot of the core concepts that I think are very important. So like the mind over muscle series, I think that's just like the most simple way to approach training. I want to keep going with that. I'll probably do a nutrition series that's something somewhat similar. But for the video today, I want to talk about something very important, which is the pillars of health from the perspective of a bro scientist, right? So I'm a starting strength coach, definitely not like a doctor or anything. I don't really have any credentials in that degree, in that area. I do have a precision nutrition certification, so I have a nutrition cert and a strength cert, so I consider myself somewhat qualified, but I want to go and get into some things here about science and bro science, starting off with a little rant about the bro science in the first place, right? So the thing with science is that it's all based off of, there's hypotheses, there's experiments, you collect data, and there's, different variables that go into these experiments, and a lot of the time with nutrition and training, the data that comes out can be flawed in a lot of ways. Namely, when you have like exercise studies, it's often done with like college students, and they're often beginners. So like anything they do, they're going to respond to. So these studies are going to show that like, you can walk, and it's like a 4-week study, and after 4 weeks of walking, the people gain muscle. And so like, implies that walking allows you to gain muscle. But then if you actually run a longer study, you will see that's not the case, so on and so forth, right? There's all kinds of examples of that. And then as far as nutrition, the same thing can happen where there's a lot of like confounding variables. It's very difficult to control. But then on top of that, like I think there's a lot of backlash towards the science-based community right now, which is somewhat warranted as far as like lifting goes and nutrition. And then there's a lot of like the return to the bro science, where that's kind of like the cycle of the fitness community, where it's like more bro sciencey at one point, then more sciencey, and the pendulum kind of goes back and forth. So I think we're swinging back towards like bro science at this point. But I just want to say like bro science is not like made up. A lot of the times bro science are things that we've kind of like known intuitively, we've observed anecdotally, which is still data, that's still evidence, right? And then a study will often confirm what is already observed via the bro science, right? So anyways, that's kind of, I just want to lay that out first. But health, I think that's very important, right? So the reason I'm making this video is because in the starting strength world, there's a lot of talk about just getting as strong as possible. And there's, a very small fraction of people, I think, that want to actually do that. And then a large majority of people want to be strong enough to be healthy, but they don't want to compromise their health or, devote their life to getting strong, and get strong at the expense of those things, right? So my 4 pillars of physical health, as I would define them, right? I have sleep, nutrition, cardio, and strength. Those are in no particular order. They're all very important. But yeah, we'll talk about them each a little bit. And I just went into like the physical aspects. I'm just going to talk about that in this video. Some honorable mentions are like for your mental health. There's like financial health, security goes along with that. They kind of tie into each other, right? So like that keeps you from feeling stressed out all the time, which is then going to in turn affect your physical state. So the mental and the physical are, intertwined because your brain's obviously in your physical body. So you can't just like have a terrible mental state and be physically healthy. So you got to sort both out. But I'm going to focus on the physical in this video. A couple other mental ones are like, your relationships and your family, being at peace with the ones around you, basically not having like enemies and, terrible relationships and have people hate you. Spiritual health, as far as like religion or not religion, whatever it may be for you, aliens, all that good stuff, right? And then a sense of purpose or like a sense of passion, having hobbies, having a reason to get up in the morning and do stuff, right? Because you can have, financial security and have accomplished a ton, and then, not do anything, and that's also arguably unhealthy. And I think that there are a lot of people out there like that, right? Where they're very established in their careers, they might be retired even, but now they're just kind of like sitting around, they're not doing a whole lot, not contributing a whole lot, and then they're also letting their physical health deteriorate, which is not healthy, right? So as far as the physical health goes, those four main pillars, right? Sleep, nutrition, cardio, and strength, all very important. And then on top of that, or in that vein rather, if you have, a lot of this is goal dependent, right? If you have goals to get as strong as possible, for example, right, then you're going to have to kind of sacrifice some of the other three, maybe not all three, but like make some sacrifices here and there in order to get there, right? And then if you just want to, basically if you just go where others have gone, you're just going to wind up like other people. So if you want to be average, then you can get a good mix of all of them and be, you know, average or above average, which is totally fine, right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just laying out this is what you need to do. So a good analogy would be like with finance, you know, if you have an average salary and you just invest in ETFs all the time, then you're going to wind up pretty well off, right? But if you want to become super, super rich and make like 7 figures, then you're going to have to make some sacrifices, work a whole lot, sacrifice maybe like some relationships, some family time, right? Wait until later in life to get into that, if you get into it at all. But yeah, everything exists on a spectrum. Some aspects of health are going to boost others. So for example, like I think physical strength is going to translate to pretty much every single physical quality as far as like balance or like athleticism, you know, your explosiveness, precision and accuracy, even your cardio to a certain extent, right? Because the stronger you are, the better off you're going to be from a cardio standpoint. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but that seems pretty self-evident. But yeah, so some practical examples of how you can maximize all of this health, right? All these different aspects are strength training 3 days per week at least. That's the foundation in my opinion, right? And I'll explain why in a moment. But the reason why is because you can kind of structure everything around these strength training sessions, right? So like if you are not training and you're trying to then, you know, have like a decent base of cardio fitness and a decent nutritional base and get enough sleep, then it gets easier to fall out of those habits because you don't necessarily have something to tie them all together, right? So I feel like strength training neatly ties all that together. You have a reason to do all those things because if you don't do any of that, your strength training is going to suffer. As far as cardio goes, right, you can go ahead and go for a run and like you can sleep 4 hours and you can, you know, eat like shit, and then you can go out and go for a run and get it done and like feel good afterwards, right? And you're not going to perform as well as if you were, you know, eating well and sleeping well, obviously. But a lot of the time when people do cardio, they're not necessarily tracking, they're not doing it in a performance-based style. So I guess I might revise that and say like, as long as you're doing something that is, as long as you're training, whether it's for cardio or strength, that is really key, right? So you have to be training in some capacity. But strength training is a lot more fun and a lot more gooder, so we're gonna stick with that for today. But yeah, strength training, 3 days per week. And then your sleep and your nutrition are then, you're gonna have a reason to be on top of those, right? Because it's gonna fuel your strength training. As far as cardio goes, that's pretty easy to incorporate if you're strength training because you can kind of do it during the sessions. You can do it kind of like in the middle of the session. If you incorporate like supersets or giant sets, you can do it at the end of the session, right? So you can just finish up your workout and then hop on the bike for a little bit, push the prowler or something like that. As far as nutrition goes, habit stacking is a great way to do that, right? So let's say you have your workout in the middle of the day, right? You can eat whole healthy foods before and after your workout. So that's like you have this itinerary throughout the day. So it's like I'm gonna eat whole healthy foods, right? And then you kind of like take note of how you perform during the workout and how you feel and how you recover afterwards. And you create a positive feedback loop, right? So you have more incentive to not eat terribly because, or just, you know, in order to eat in the first place. So you're not gonna skip meals either, because then it's gonna affect your performance in the gym. And then you're gonna have a negative feedback loop and start to go downhill. So you're gonna fight against that by, you know, continuing the good habits. And then sleep is the same thing. You can stack that on top. So you might have like, you know, a healthy meal, you train, you have a healthy meal, and then you might wind down for bed after that. You know, your dinner time meal, for example, you stop working, you turn off like blue lights, you take a shower, read a book, whatever you gotta do for sleep hygiene, that sort of thing, right? And you can kind of like expand outwards from there. And then over time, you have a very healthy lifestyle and you're feeling a lot better, doing a lot better, you know, and then everything else kind of like radiates out from that. Your relationships get better, your financial security gets better. It's like the Jordan Peterson concept, love him or hate him. You know, he makes a good point with getting your house in order first, right? So you get your physical health in order, then everything else is gonna, you know, rise with that. The rising tide that raises all ships, so to speak. But yeah, that's really it for this video. Just talking about health a little bit. Gonna make some more videos in this vein, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video, all right? Goodbye.